You don't look autistic. I've heard this more times than I can count from strangers, from classmates, from people who meant it as a compliment. On the surface, it sounds harmless, almost kind. But when someone tells you you don't look autistic, what they're really saying is you don't match the picture in my head. And the picture in their head is almost always wrong. I used to take it as reassurance. Now I hear it differently. And if you're autistic or you love someone who is, there's a reason this phrase does more harm than most people realize. Hi, this is Michael from Autism 101. When people picture autism, they usually picture one thing: a young boy, maybe nonverbal, maybe rocking back and forth, maybe really good at math. That's the stereotype. And if you don't fit that narrow image, if you're, let's say, an adult, if you make eye contact, if you can hold a conversation, then suddenly you don't look autistic. That's not actually what autism looks like. That's what one tiny sliver of the spectrum looks like, filtered through decades of media that got it wrong. The reality is, autism doesn't just have one, it has a way of processing, a way of experiencing the world. And people learn very early, especially anyone who doesn't fit the stereotype, how to hide it. That hiding has a name. It's called masking. Masking is hiding your autistic traits in order to fit in. It's forcing eye contact that feels physically uncomfortable. It's scripting conversations in your head before they happen. It's suppressing stims, the movements that help regulate your nervous system, because you learned early that flapping your hands gets you stared at. Think of it like this. You're running a translation app in your brain constantly. Every social situation, every sentence, every facial expression, you're translating from the way you naturally think to the way that you're supposed to act. And the translation isn't instant. There's a lag. There's a processing cost. For a lot of autistic people, masking starts young. For me, it started somewhere around elementary school when I realized other kids weren't bumping into people in crowded hallways, weren't misjudging personal space, weren't getting overwhelmed by the same noises everyone seems to just filter out. I didn't know what masking was back then. I just knew I was tired all the time. Here's what that looked like for me. I would come home from school and just crash. Not in a tired way like I could use a nap. Tired like my whole body was heavy. Some people thought I was being dramatic. Teachers thought I wasn't trying hard enough. And I started believing them. I thought I was just bad at being a person. I didn't have words for it then. Now I know what it was. Masking burnout. My brain had been running that translation app for 8 hours straight and the battery was dead. And for a lot of autistic people, this is daily life. Not because autism is exhausting, but because pretending not to be autistic is exhausting. So when someone says, "You don't look autistic," I hear something specific. I hear, "Your mask is working." I hear, "Keep hiding." And this is where it gets really important. Masking may help someone survive short term. It helps you navigate school, get a job, avoid bullying. But long term, it comes at a very high cost. Research is starting to catch up to what autistic people have been saying for decades. Masking is one of the biggest predictors of autistic burnout. It's linked to higher rates of anxiety, depression, and suicidality. The more you hide, the more you carry. And eventually, the weight of it breaks something. This isn't just a feeling. This is one of the reasons why so many autistic adults, especially late diagnosed autistic adults, describe their diagnosis as a relief. Not because anything changed externally, because they finally had permission to stop pretending. So, what actually helps? First thing is recognition. Noticing when you're masking and asking yourself if it is necessary in that moment? Sometimes the answer is yes. Masking is a survival tool, and I'm not going to just pretend we live in a world where autistic people can just drop it anywhere. But sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes you're masking for no one, and those are the moments you can start to let go. The second thing is unmasking in spaces where it is safe to do so. This takes time. This takes finding people, even just one person you don't have to perform for. For me, that started with small things, letting myself stem at home, not forcing eye contact with people I trusted, saying out loud, I need a break from noise right now, instead of suffering through it. The third thing, and this is the one people skip over most often, reframing what autism actually is. Not a deficit, not something broken, a different operating system. When you stop measuring yourself against a neurotypical standard, the things that used to feel like failures, needing alone time, getting overstimulated, communicating differently, stop feeling like failures. They just start feeling like facts. I wish someone told me this growing up. I wish someone had said, you're not bad at being a person. You're just autistic in a world that wasn't built for your brain. I spent so many years thinking I was broken because I couldn't do what everyone else seemed to do effortlessly. The conversations, the eye contact, the filtering out background noise. I thought I was just bad at it. I didn't know there was a reason. If I had known, if someone had looked at a younger version of me and said, your brain works differently and that's okay, I'm not sure how much would have changed practically, but emotionally, everything. Because the hardest part wasn't the sensory overload and the social exhaustion. The hardest part was thinking it was my fault. So here's what I want you to take away. You don't look autistic isn't a compliment. It's a reflection on how narrow the understanding of autism still is. Masking may help someone survive, but long term, it costs more than most people know. And the people in your life who are autistic, whether they show it or not, probably carrying more than you realize. What's one comment or stereotype about autism that you're tired of hearing? Or if you're not autistic, what is one aspect you realize you misunderstood? I would love to hear your experiences in the comments. This channel exists to bridge the gap between lived experience and the people who want to understand it better. Parents, educators, friends, if that's why you're here, subscribe and stick around.